mystery of existence. Why is there anything at all? Why is that an interesting question? I've heard the answer in the last 2 days. It's consciousness, cosmic consciousness. It's the primordial expression of what I feel in my soul and my mind and my brain. It's everything. Everybody is telling me that. And you know what? That may be true. And it may be something that I really begin to understand. There is no mystery. We know it's consciousness. A lot of mysteries about consciousness, but we know that's what it's all about. We know that, right? And it's wonderful being at this conference with Deepak and everyone else. But you know what? I go to some other conferences, and there are quantum physicists and cosmologists and mathematicians, and it's the same environment. And you know what they tell me? They tell me it's the laws of quantum physics and cosmological inflation and the nature of information. That information sits at the lowest level. And that's the answer. Everybody knows that. We have to understand how it works, etc. It's the same emotion that we have here about consciousness. But there it's about physics, information, cosmology, and all the same interactions. And you know what? I go to another meeting, and they're all philosophers of religion. And you know what the answer then is? It's God. That God sits at the bottom. That's why there's no mystery. It's God. God has mysterious ways. We don't know how God works, but it's God. So now we have 3 answers to the question, and there may be more. We have consciousness, we have God, we have physics. But I say that these are all second-level questions. Does God exist? Is consciousness fundamental, which we talk about here? How did the universe come about? And even, is there life after death, which is really not that's kind of a higher level, but some people think that's important, so we put it in there. But I say they're all second-level questions. There's one fundamental question that sits deeper than all of them, that nobody ever really talks about. And that is, why is there something, anything, rather than nothing at all? Nothing at all. Can you begin to understand what that could mean? Nothing at all. Why is there anything at all? And indeed, why is it the case that there is not nothing? There is something. That we know for sure because we all experience it and we know there's something. But why? Something is very complicated. Whether it's consciousness or physics or everything is complicated. We see all the complications here. It seems hard to do. Nothing would seem much simpler. Why is there something rather than nothing? And this is the magisterial question. And here's my challenge to you. If you don't feel dizzy by the time you contemplate nothing, you really haven't got it. I want to see if you can feel dizzy in the next 10 minutes. So I want you to put yourself in the frame of mind of what is something. Something is everything you can conceive of. It's all the consciousness we're talking about here. It's all the physics and the cosmology and the mathematics that those guys talk about, and all the theologies and the gods and everything else, all wrapped into one. Put everything else into it. I call that one word, that's something. Why is there anything? Why is there that something rather than nothing? So to begin to understand how to deal with this question, you have to realize that if you have nothing in nothing from which something can arise. Think about that. Every time I ask this question, I get an answer. It's consciousness, it's God, it's this. But what is it in the nothing that brought that into existence? How does existence occur? That is the fundamental question. Now, we have a number of ways we can deal with this, and I'm going to mention that at the end. But that gets much more complicated. I just want to have a very simple talk with you today, and that is I want you to understand what nothing is all about. And if you understand nothing, by the time I'm finished, I will be very satisfied. So how are we going to understand nothing? What do we do to understand nothing? Well, we have a universe, we have people, we have brains and minds and ideas and all kinds of somethings. So what I'm going to try to do is eliminate them. And I'm going to take them one at a time. And I'm going to do it in an order from, shall we say, maximum naivete to radical nothingness or absolute nothing. And so what are the steps along the way that I can do to take everything that's part of something and eliminate pieces so that we really have nothing? And see what happens. So let's start. What is nothing? Well, as I said, it's the first thing you do is whatever you can imagine, real, imaginary, ideas, thinking, it's not that. So you got to take that out. Whatever you can think about, take that out. Take that out until we can really get down to nothing. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to have 9 levels. It's arbitrary. There's nothing magic about the number 9. It's just something I came up with. So we're going to go through each one of these 9, and in each of these 9 levels, we're going to take something out. So let's start with the very simplest, naive. Nobody in this room would really think it's nothing, but let's say the level 1, the most naive, is just you don't see anything. It's sort of space and time just like existing, but you clear out all the stuff, all the particles. Everything's you just don't see anything. But, there may be stuff there, but you just don't see anything visually. So we know that's very simplistic. So now let's go to another level. So now what we're taking out is not just what you can't see, because there's a lot of stuff that really is there that you can't see. We're now taking out all the particles, all the matter, without defining matter at this point. It don't be too complicated. So that's also pretty simplistic. So we better take out the energy, because Einstein told us EMC squared, energy and matter are the same thing. So we better take out all the energy and all the matter. Now what do we got? Now we got nothing. We got no matter, no energy, forever. Well, now we have to do it on a permanent basis. Because if you just take out all you could have just done that, we say, contingently. You could have just taken out the matter and energy now, but there was something before, but then there really wasn't nothing because there was something and then you took it away. So you have to put the qualification at the next level of nothing that there's no energy and no matter on a permanent, forever basis. But you still got space and time, you still got a lot of other stuff going on. So the next level, level 5, now we have to eliminate the no space and no time. So now we have no matter, no energy, no space, and no time. But we still have the laws of quantum physics and the laws of whatever sits below quantum physics, string theory or whatever, and the cosmological inflation. All the different principles of bringing physical stuff into existence are still there. And this is what I call the nothing of physicists. Physicists claim that they can bring something from nothing by quantum tunneling and all sorts of other ways, which may indeed work cosmogenically, but it is certainly not nothing. Certainly not nothing. The laws of quantum physics, the laws of information, the laws of cosmological inflation, and on, this is a very, very thick kind of something. Very complex and sophisticated, and we don't even understand it all. So for physicists to claim that they're they're showing how something can come from nothing, well, they have a very rich and complex nothing. So that's nothing number 5. But that's not all there is. Now I want to eliminate the laws of physics. So now I have a nothing that says no matter, no energy, no space and time, and now there are no laws of physics. So what is there? Can we get any lower? Can we eliminate more than that to get to a real, absolute, permanent, and forever nothing? What else do we have to eliminate? So, nothing number 7. We have to do this in a linear order. We have to just try to see what's next on the horizon. So now what we have to eliminate is what I call non-physical concrete objects. Remember, at nothing number 6, we had already eliminated any vestige of the physical world, including the laws of physics, are gone. So that's the nothing number 6. Physicists don't like that because then they can't do anything, right? Once you eliminate the laws of physics, they're shall we say, sterile, impotent. So all the physicists are impotent when I get to nothing number 6. But there's still things there. There's still things that are in existence that are not physical. After you've eliminated, you've gone down to this step of nothing number 6, there is still stuff there. It's not physical, it's not laws of physics, but there is stuff there. What's there? Because at nothing number 7, now we're going to eliminate the rest of the stuff. And that is all the non-physical, concrete objects. So now let's think about that. I'm now eliminating, to get to this level of nothing, the non-physical, concrete objects. I did not say all non-physical objects. Very important, because we'll see that later. I said all the non-physical, concrete objects. So, God, any kind of God you want, you define the God, I'll put him in, or her, or it, in this category. God is a non-physical, concrete object, and that guy is gone in nothing number 7. No God. And you know what? Consciousness is a non-physical, you'll agree with me there, but it's a concrete object. It's something that's real, that has energy and does stuff. And you know what? To me, it's the same thing as God. Out at nothing number 7. So now we have nothing in the physical world, no concrete objects in the non-physical world, and we're only at nothing number 7. Got 2 more to go. Got 2 more things. Well, what more can we eliminate? We just eliminated consciousness, cosmic, primordial, personal, everything. Everything you've talked about is gone. Nothing number 7. 2 more to go. Okay, we heard it before, mathematics. Mathematics goes in nothing number 8. And this is when we eliminate no abstract objects. So the previous one was no non-physical concrete objects, and now we're saying no non-physical abstract objects. Now, an abstract object are things that have no causal powers, and they seem to exist. And there's lots of things in this category: Platonic forms, mathematics, rules of logic, truths, propositions. Philosophers have smoked a lot of pipes trying to figure all this stuff out. And, of course, they haven't. But there's a huge numbers of things here, an infinite number of things. In fact, one of the big problems in theology for people who believe in a personal God who has total control is, how does God deal with abstract objects? Because God is supposed to, in the strong Christian tradition, be the absolute controller of everything. Well, if there are all these abstract objects floating around, how could God be as sovereign as God is? That's a problem. It may not be your problem, but that's a problem of a lot of Christian philosophers, how to deal with abstract objects. So this level, nothing number 6, now we're eliminating all abstract objects. Mathematics, forms, truths, anything else. Could there be anything else to eliminate? Anything else to eliminate? I would propose there's one more level. This would be controversial, and I'm not even saying this is right, because some would put it in category 8. But I break this out. I break out a category of something that I will describe that is even deeper than abstract objects in general. What could that be? Possibilities. So anything that you talk about, there could always be a possibility. Nothing ever, if there were no abstract objects, there could be the possibility of an abstract object. Can you ever eliminate a possibility? I'm eliminating possibilities in nothing 9, because I'm not saying it's possible to do it, but I want to say theoretically, conceptually, if I want to absolutely eliminate everything, so I'm down to the bedrock nothing, how can I do it? What can I get rid of? Everything. And I propose nothing number 9 gets you there. No matter, no energy, no laws of physics, no concrete, non-physical, no God, no consciousness, no abstract objects, and now no possibilities. Absolute, permanent nothing. Now, it is generally assumed that nothing number 9 and nothing number 8 are logically impossible. That is a position that is taken by, I would say, most philosophers, not all, but most, that it's logically impossible. So even though I can conceive of a nothing number 8 and a nothing number 9 with no abstract objects and no possibilities, that is in fact conceivable, but logically impossible, and you can never do that. And that's an argument that I, frankly, am not sure of. So I have it in my nothings, but I tell you that it is very possible that nothing number 7 may in fact be the lowest nothing that you can really get by eliminating the non-physical concrete objects, the gods, the consciousness, the laws of physics, all that stuff. Well, that's concrete stuff. But you could never eliminate abstract objects and possibilities. I said, I'm not sure. I sort of suspect that maybe you can eliminate these things. And that's why I have it in these levels of nothing. So I hope some of you are dizzy by now, that you see that in nothing there is a lot to think about. And so when people talk about how things happen, whether consciousness creates everything, or the laws of physics, or cosmology, or whether information is really sitting at the bottom of everything, kind of creating everything in an abstract way, or that God is permanently in existence and is the source of all things that exist and don't exist, and all these different religions, that you'll know that each one of them are making an assumption that nothing stops at the level that they define for their individual ideology, where they want the something to be created from. So the physicists are nothing number 5. That's their nothing. But they have the laws of physics in there ready to generate stuff. Theologians, religious people, people who believe in the primordial consciousness would have nothing number 6 be the real nothing, because now you have no matter, no space, no time, and no laws of physics, but you do have God, or you do have consciousness. So that's where you like to start. Maybe that's right. Maybe nothing number 6 is the lowest you can get, because you cannot eliminate God, or you cannot eliminate consciousness. I don't know. But what I do know is that unless you understand nothing, you don't really understand the big questions of consciousness, God, and anything else. Unless you understand nothing, you really don't. You really understand nothing, if you follow that. Unless you understand nothing, you don't understand nothing. So, what my co-author of the book, The Mystery of Existence, we've come up with 5 different solutions to the real question of why there is something rather than nothing. We know there's something, but now that we really deeply understand nothing, we have 5 solutions. I'm just going to read them because just in case I would have the honor of being invited back in a future year by my good friend Mr. Chopra, Dr. Chopra, I would save an explanation of the 5 answers for the next conference. But I will just read them now. Some people say that to have a blank, to have nothing, is just an absurd comment. Some would say that you don't even need an explanation. There's something and you just don't need one. Chance, which is kind of in the laws of physics. Value perfection, which is a whole different category. It says as basically abstract objects have causative powers. I mean, that's a 10-minute conversation for sure. And then, of course, the last one, mind, consciousness as ultimate, which is many people here believe that, and people who believe in God would believe a similar kind of thing. I would say they're fairly similar. So at some point in the future, I hope to do that, but I want to leave you with a deep understanding of nothing. And if you don't get Disney, you really don't get it.
Robert, I just want to ask you one question. Can you experience nothing? You. Can you conceptualize nothing? Can you experience nothing?
I can tell you how my life was affected, and this is true. When I was 12 years old, I was at summer camp, and I was in bed one night, and suddenly I thought, very rudimentarily, of could there be nothing? And I got so scared. I mean, this is not like a joke. I mean, I really sweat. I got so panicked. I tried to put it out of my mind, this question. And you know what? I was effective. And for 3 or more decades, maybe 4 decades, I knew there was something that scared me, and I forgot what it was. And then about a certain number of years ago, when I began to think about doing the Closer to Truth television show, and doing this, I suddenly remembered that it was nothing that scared me so.
You didn't answer my question. Can you experience nothing? Can you conceptualize nothing?
No.
Can you imagine nothing?
I can imagine nothing, and I've just done that at 9 levels.
You've done it intellectually.
I did it intellectually, that's right. And that's my prejudice.
But that's
my
why
prejudice is
nothing
intellectual.
is not a system of thought.
No. I completely disagree with that. Nothing is a way to understand what reality is. If you don't understand nothing, you don't understand any component of reality. You don't understand. You would have consciousness be the deepest level of existence. But unless you understand nothing, you don't understand consciousness.
You must experience nothing. Have you experienced nothing?
No.
Thank you.
That we have to understand how it works, etc. It's the same emotion that we have here about consciousness, but there it's about physics, information, cosmology, and all the same interactions. And you know what? I go to another meeting, and they're all philosophers of religion. And you know what the answer then is? It's God. That God sits at the bottom. That's why there's no mystery. It's God. But you know what? I go to some other conferences, and there are quantum physicists and cosmologists and mathematicians. And it's the same environment. And you know what they tell me? They tell me it's the laws of quantum physics and cosmological inflation and the nature of information. That information sits at the lowest level. And that's the answer. Everybody knows. The mystery of existence. Why is there anything at all? Why is that an interesting question? I've heard the answer in the last 2 days. It's consciousness, cosmic consciousness. It's the primordial God. God has mysterious ways. We don't know how God works, but it's God. So now we have 3 answers to the question, and there may be more. We have consciousness, we have God, we have physics. But I say that these are all second-level questions. Does God exist? Is consciousness fundamental, which we talk about here? How the expression of what I feel in my soul and my mind and my brain, it's everything. Everybody is telling me that. And you know what? That may be true. And it may be something that I really begin to understand. There is no mystery. We know it's consciousness. A lot of mysteries about consciousness, but we know that's what it's all about. We know that, right? And it's wonderful being at this conference with Deepak and everyone else.